Why didn't you tell me earlier? This one question from my customer changed the way I handled deadlines forever. I had said yes to an additional work, underestimated the effort, and waited too long to communicate the delay to my customer. And a delayed delivery may disappoint a customer, but a delayed communication can damage their trust. That experience taught me 5 important lessons of my professional life that I still follow today. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to like and share this episode. Welcome to Inner Quest Healing Talks, Conversations for Stress to Bliss. I'm your host, Raavi. In this mini-series, Lessons I Learned in America, I share experiences from my early professional and personal life in the United States and the lessons they continue to teach me even today. Today's story is about deadlines, but more importantly, it's about saying no, asking questions, managing expectations, and communicating early. And also understanding that when we make a promise to someone, our promise affects their plans also. During my early days in America, I was working as an individual contributor on software projects. One of the tools I worked extensively was Install Shield. During the late 1990s, Install Shield was widely used to create installation programs for Windows applications. So I was working on one such project for a customer. Initially, everything looked manageable. We had agreed on the requirements, we had a deadline, and I was confident that I could deliver. Then came additional requirements, and this is where I made my first mistake. I kept saying, yes. Can you add this? Yes. Can you manage this change? Yes. Can you include this as well? Yes. At that stage in my career, I found it difficult to say no to a customer. Somewhere inside me was a fear. What will the customer think about me if I say I cannot do it? And perhaps there was also a little ego and a little overconfidence. I can manage somehow. But every yes was quietly adding more work while the deadline remained exactly where it was. My main contact on the customer side was a gentleman named Steve. Steve used to speak very fast, and during those initial days in America, I sometimes found it difficult to understand his accent and everything he was saying. But I hesitated to ask him to repeat what he said. Again, the same thought, what will he think about me? When I discussed this with my manager, he gave me a very simple advice. He said, if you don't understand something, ask the customer to repeat it. If required, ask again, clarify and confirm. Never pretend that you understood something when you have not. That simple and incredibly powerful advice stayed with me throughout my career. Because when we don't ask, we may think, I hope I understood correctly, but the customer thinks he understood exactly what I need, and that's where problems begin. All right, coming back to the project. The deadline was getting closer. I continued working. I continued believing that somehow I would finish everything. Then, on day before delivery, reality hit me. There was no way I could complete everything by the promised date. As usual, my stress started increasing, my anxiety started growing. Instead of helping me work faster, all that worry started occupying my mind. I wasn't able to concentrate properly. My body was sitting in front of the computer, but my mind was somewhere else. What will Steve say? What will happen? Will he get angry? Will this affect my reputation? And this taught me another important lesson. When mind is filled with fear and anxiety, it becomes much harder to give your complete attention to the work in front of us. Sometimes, the very stress we create about missing a deadline makes it even harder to complete the work. And I still remember it was a Thursday evening. I finally decided that I had to call Steve. I was tense. This was one of my early projects and I didn't know how he would react. I picked up the phone, called him, and explained that I wouldn't be able to deliver the project as promised. As expected, Steve wasn't happy. For a moment, I expected him to become angry, maybe even shout at me, but he didn't. He remained professional, and then came the question I have never forgotten. Most of my American colleagues used to call me Raavi. So Steve said, Raavi, why didn't you tell me earlier? That question changed everything. His main concern wasn't simply that I was going to be late. Rather, his concern was that he had planned based on the commitment I had given to him. He said my delivery was connected to his team's work, perhaps their schedules, commitments to their customers. So, my deadline wasn't just my deadline, it was part of someone else's plan. And that's what Steve explained why the delivery was important to him and his team. Eventually, he agreed to the delay and I completed and delivered the project 2 days later. But the lesson stayed with me much longer than those 2 days. So, this project taught me 5 important lessons. The first lesson, when in doubt, ask. Yes, it's very simple. Never hesitate to ask questions. Simple, na? Especially when you are trying to understand someone's expectations. If something isn't clear, please ask. If you think you understood, confirm. If requirements seems ambiguous, clarify. Because if you remain silent, the other person naturally assume that you have understood everything. And this isn't limited to customers. It applies to managers, your colleagues, family, relationships. Sometimes a 30-second clarification can prevent days of misunderstanding. The second lesson is learning to say no. Yes, it's okay to say no. This was perhaps the biggest lesson for me. Saying no doesn't mean you're incompetent. It doesn't mean you are unwilling to help. Sometimes no simply means I want to give you a realistic commitment. Instead of immediately saying yes, we can say, let me evaluate the effort. I can do this, but I will need more time. And if this becomes priority, something else may need to move and so on. Yes, that's not negativity, that's responsibility. And the same principle applies in our personal lives as well. Because when we say yes to everything because we are afraid or being judged, eventually we create expectations that we cannot fulfill. And sometimes a respectful no today prevents disappointment tomorrow. Lesson 3: Communicate early. Yes, Steve's question taught me perhaps the most important lesson of the entire experience. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Problems happen, schedules change, unexpected work may appear. They often do. So, things will not always go according to plan. So, most people understand that. Yes, even your customers. What they find difficult is being surprised at the last moment. If you see a risk, communicate it early. Don't wait until the deadline to announce that deadline cannot be met. And whenever something is important, better document it. A conversation is useful, a written confirmation creates clarity to both parties. During my professional career, email became an important tool for this. Today, we also use messaging platforms such as WhatsApp. Interestingly, I recently experienced a situation where some important communication with a client disappeared on WhatsApp because, you know what? Disappearing messages had been enabled under 2 for 24 hours. That reminded me again important communications should not depend entirely on memory because messages may disappear. So document what matters. The fourth lesson was about commitment. Respect your delivery promise. Never underestimate the effort simply because you want to please someone. Before committing to a delivery, understand the scope, estimate realistically, consider the risks, ask for time if you need, and then make your commitment. There's a simple principle I have come to value: under promise and over deliver rather than over promise and under deliver. We use this in our professional circles very often. So, when we consistently do what we say, yes, trust will grow. And in professional life, trust is one of the most important and valuable assets we can build. Because sometimes integrity isn't about keeping every promise exactly as we made. It's about being honest when circumstances change. Lesson 5: Keep the mind clear. Yes, the final lesson was about myself. When I realized I might miss the deadline, I allowed fear about the future to consume much of my attention in the present. Instead of focusing completely on what I could accomplish, my mind kept rehearsing what might go wrong. And that experience taught me the importance of keeping the mind and body aligned with the task in front of us. Yes, stress appears to everyone all day through. So, whenever stress comes up on board, pause, acknowledge it, clarify what you can control, and communicate what needs to be communicated, and then return your attention to the next action. Worry rarely completes the work, focused action will do. So, these were some of the important 5 lessons I learned as a young programmer in America. So, take a moment and think about your own life. Have you ever missed a deadline or made a commitment that you later realized you could fulfill? What did that experience teach you? I would love to hear your story. Do share it in this comments section. And if this episode reminds you of someone who finds it difficult to say no or communicate delays early, share this episode with them. Sometimes, one uncomfortable conversation today can prevent a much bigger problem tomorrow. And that Thursday evening conversation with Steve happened many years ago, but one question from that conversation still stays with me. Raavi, why didn't you tell me earlier? Today, whenever I see a potential delay or misunderstanding, those words remind me to ask clearly, clarify early, and communicate early. And also promise responsibly and deliver with integrity. Okay, so until next time, stay aware and stay accountable. A missed deadline can often be managed. A missed communication can damage trust. So speak before the problem speaks for you. This is your host, Ravindra Murthy. Thank you for joining me today. Take a breath, take it slow, and remember, bliss begins